Today, we're diving into something that, frankly, needs a shakeup.
Right.
Blockchain gaming. We've got a bunch of sources here on a new platform. It's called DeputyDawgs. And they seem to be trying to, well, completely rethink the economics behind it all. It's not just another game launch.
No, exactly. It's about trying to build something sustainable. And the key term that keeps popping up in these sources is play to burn, P2B. So our mission today, really, is to figure out what that actually means. How does it work? And why did DeputyDawgs step away from the model everyone knows, play to earn, which, let's face it, often crashes and burns. Is this P2B thing genuinely the answer, or is it just some fancy new label?
Okay, yeah. Before we get tangled in the economics, though, what is DeputyDawgs? The platform itself?
Right.
It's not just one game, right? The sources describe it as more of an ecosystem, all connected by this DDawgs token.
That's right, a whole interconnected system. And they're claiming real variety, too. Everything from your quick jump in, jump out arcade games to much deeper, more involved RPGs with quests and narratives, that kind of thing.
So trying to appeal to different types of players.
Exactly. And that breadth is pretty important if your whole economic model relies on people actually using the token, What's really striking in the source material, I think, is how deep the integration goes. It's not just slapping NFTs onto stuff. We're talking in-game items, sure, but also character looks that change based on the NFTs you own, even achievements that get tokenized somehow. It seems quite layered.
They also talk a lot about player-centric design and AI-driven personalization. That sounds buzzwordy. How does that actually play out here?
Well, according to the sources, the idea is the AI adapts things for you, like game difficulty, maybe mission payouts, even how certain assets look, maybe based on how you play or what you've spent tokens on before.
Oh, yeah.
The aim seems to be making the token and your assets feel more useful, more unique to you. Because if the economy needs player activity, the game itself has to keep you hooked, right? It has to feel rewarding beyond just the token price.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why did they need to ditch the P2E model in the first place? We all know play to earn. You play, you get tokens. Sounds simple. What went wrong there?
It's the classic problem, really. Short-term thinking leading to long-term pain. P2E models were just fundamentally inflationary. Think about it like a country just printing money nonstop and handing it out.
Yeah, okay. The value tanks. Devaluation.
Exactly. With P2E, the rewards themselves, the tokens you earn just by playing, constantly increase the supply. And these systems often attracted more, let's call them extractors, than actual gamers. People focused only on farming tokens as fast as possible to sell them.
Right, the yield farmers. Dump the tokens on the market.
Precisely. So you have this constant selling pressure, plus more and more tokens being created all the time. It creates this downward spiral, the death spiral. We saw it happen quite dramatically with games like Axie Infinity. Their SLP token value just collapsed because people were earning way, way more than was ever being used or burned in the game. It just wasn't sustainable.
Okay, so DeputyDawgs looked at that history, that failure, and basically said the earning part is the problem.
That seems to be the core idea, yeah. They're trying to flip the script with this play to burn. Instead of the game giving you new tokens, your actions within the game are designed to remove tokens from the supply.
Right.
It's meant to be an active deflationary pressure built right into how you interact with the game.
So how does that actually work then, the mechanics? What kind of actions trigger this burn?
The sources get pretty specific here. It's tied to actions that use the token's utility. Things like buying special items, paying entry fees for competitive modes or tournaments, upgrading certain NFTs, maybe speeding up timers in some games, stuff like that. When you spend your DDawgs on these things, a set percentage, the sources mentioned, maybe 5%, maybe 10% gets burned, poof, gone forever.
Removed from circulation entirely.
Permanently removed, not sent to a treasury, not recycled, burned.
So, okay, if I buy some cool cosmetic item or pay to enter a high-stakes match, part of that cost just disappears, making all the other DDawgs slightly rarer.
That's exactly the idea. It creates token scarcity over time. By constantly chipping away at the total supply, the P2P model is aiming to make each token that's left potentially more valuable. It tries to shift the player mindset from how many tokens can I pull out to what's the long-term value of the tokens I hold.
And this focus on scarcity, it's all about building something that lasts, right? Avoiding that 6-month boom and bust cycle we see so often.
That seems to be the #1 goal, yes. Preventing that massive oversupply is key. But it's not just the burning. We also need to look at the broader tokenomics picture they paint. The sources talk about a balanced token distribution. So not all tokens are just thrown out there initially. Significant portions are apparently allocated to the dev team and ecosystem fund, marketing.
Holding tokens back. Why is that important? Isn't that just concentrating power?
Well, the argument is that a game needs ongoing development, right? And marketing to bring in new players. If the team has no resources or incentive because all the tokens are out in the wild from day one, the game stagnates and dies.
Okay, fair point.
So this ecosystem fund, for example, is supposedly for things like super costs, future development, maybe even attracting other game studios to build on the DeputyDawgs platform, which in theory increases the long-term use cases and demand for the DDawgs token itself.
Right, feeding back into the system. And they still have things like staking, don't they, to encourage holding. What are the details on those liquidity incentives?
Yeah, staking rewards are definitely mentioned. They're pretty crucial, actually. It gives players a reason not to immediately sell any tokens they acquire. Instead, they can lock them up in a pool for a while.
And get rewarded for it.
Exactly, based on how much they stake and for how long. It does two things. One, it takes tokens off the active market, reducing sell pressure. Two, it rewards the people who are committed to the project long term.
Okay, that makes sense. So staking kind of manages the selling pressure, while the play to burn actively reduces the overall supply.
They work together. Synergistic, as the sources might say.
Here's where it gets really interesting, but maybe also where I get a bit cautious. Let's talk about the advantages they claim P2B has over P2E. Top of the list seems to be price stability, even gradual appreciation. But couldn't that just lead to the token becoming ridiculously expensive, pricing out new players? How do they manage that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's the core tension. But the argument in the sources is that stability comes mainly from avoiding that runaway inflation of P2E. If tokens are constantly being burned, that massive downward pressure just isn't there. They seem to be aiming for a controlled, slow deflation. Not crazy moonshots, but maybe a more predictable, gradual increase in value over the long haul.
Predictability.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, I can see how that would appeal to investors.
Absolutely. That's the second big claim, investor confidence. Investors are, understandably nervous about inflationary tokens. Too many have looked like quick cash grabs or pyramid schemes.
Yeah, designed for the early guys to dump on the later ones.
Right. P2B positions itself as the opposite. It signals, we're building for the long term. When the token's value is supposedly tied more to the actual activity within the game, the burning, rather than just hype or new money flowing in, it feels like a healthier foundation for an investment.
That deflationary aspect gives it a kind of structural support, maybe.
That's the theory, a sort of floor under the price driven by usage.
Okay, but let's swing back to the player again. Engagement and incentives. Playing a game, you want rewards you can feel, right? Not just knowing your existing tokens might be worth slightly more someday.
Yeah.
How does P2B actually incentivize playing?
This is where the psychology is really different from P2E. In many P2E games, the optimal strategy becomes play just enough to earn, then stop playing and start selling.
Right. Extract value.
With P2B, the incentive structure pushes you to engage more. Because your actions spending tokens on upgrades, on entry fees, on cool stuff are what fuels the entire deflationary engine. Think about, say, upgrading your character's gear. In a typical PKE, you buy it, maybe some background inflation happens elsewhere. In DeputyDawgs, according to these sources, you buy that upgrade and bam, a chunk of that cost vanishes from the total supply. Forever.
Huh. That is a different dynamic. So you're not just a consumer.
You're actively participating in the monetary policy of the game, in a way.
Every time you improve your character or buy something desirable, you're contributing to the potential long-term value for everyone.
Precisely. It means the most engaged players, the ones spending the most time and potentially money in the game.
The whales, the hardcore players.
Yeah, they become the biggest drivers of deflation. The system is sort of designed to reward that deep commitment rather than quick extraction.
It creates a feedback loop almost. Play more, spend more, burn more, increase potential value, which makes playing and holding more attractive.
That's the intended loop, yes. Utility driving scarcity, scarcity supporting value, value encouraging utility.
Okay, so let me try and sum this up for everyone listening. DeputyDawgs is basically taking this versatile, maybe AI-tuned gaming world and bolting on a totally flipped economic engine. They're throwing out the inflationary P2E model that tends to implode and betting everything on this play-to-burn idea using player activity to create controlled scarcity. The goal seems to be long-term stability and value, trying to set like a new standard for how these game economies should actually function.
That's a great summary. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it feels like a necessary evolution. We're hopefully moving past the initial kind of naive phase of just printing tokens towards something more like managed, sustainable digital economies. It really highlights the fundamental difference between an inflationary setup that rewards cashing out quick and a deflationary one that tries to reward sticking around and using the platform.
It sounds very neat on paper, but like we touched on, that's scarcity. It's a double-edged sword. If this P2B thing works really well, won't the token just become prohibitively expensive for newcomers?
And that leaves us with a critical question, something for you to think about. P2B might solve the inflation crisis of P3, sure. But if scarcity keeps driving the token value up and up, what happens next? What are the hidden trade-offs? How does a platform like DeputyDawgs keep growing, keep bringing in new players if the cost of entry keeps rising? Do they eventually need to tweak the burn rate? Introduce other mechanics? How do you balance ever-increasing scarcity with accessibility and growth? What stands out to you?